everyone.
Morning, guys.
Welcome back. I can see the other guys still on the way, probably. And how are you today?
Morning, sir. Good, and you?
Nice,
Morning. We
a nice
good.
Morning.
Friday, yeah? Hot. A nice hot Friday
Yeah.
with much to look forward to. Very hot. Now we long for rain. Okay. The guys, thank you so much for attending today. The work is almost 2/3 done. We are just about to finish today, and I hope that you have looked into these questions, the knowledge questions, just to have a glimpse of when you looked at these last night or this morning. What impression did you have about the first question? What impression does it give you? What are those things that you think they need you to elaborate on here? I know it's summative. We are supposed to do this on our own. But, just to give each other some light that, no, here I think they are looking for this and this and that. You don't necessarily answer the question now, but, just an overview of your understanding of what the question might be looking at. Describe the local, national, international context of resolving public sector policy challenges and problems. What are those things that you think they are looking at here? What are the main things that you look at when you have challenges and problems within policy? In the public sector, what are those things that you can do, the action that you can take? What will be looking at when you try to resolve whatever challenge that you experience in the policy implementation? When you look at these questions, guys, they are just a repeat of what we're doing in the formative. Okay? In the formatives, because we talked about those things that you have to look at and the action that you can take when you have challenges with a policy. If a policy does not meet the required outcomes, or if you realize that the objectives might be difficult to achieve. Okay? So just give me one example of what you can do in the context of a policy challenges. Because remember, all policies must conform, whether it's a policy on whatever subject or in whatever department, but it must conform to some other things. Remember, we said it should be able to do 1, 2, 3, should meet this. So as a result, when you have got challenges, you go back to those, okay, and then you can take action. And what is the action that you can take? Okay, with that policy. Remember, there are those about 3 to 4 things that we talked about. One of them being succession, if you remember. So here, think about the things that you look at concerning a police. That sometimes are challenges or problems with those policies. Okay? So in the context of that policy, not meeting all those things, all right? Then you can either do this or do that or do that to that policy. In short, that is what we are looking at here. What will you say, guys?
Morning, sir.
Yes, morning.
Morning. Is it where you said you can amend or change the policy? You can do amendments.
What are you saying? The options open for you, whether you amend, whether you cancel, whether you do that policy succession or policy what, policy what. Remember, we talked about those things where we say sometimes, a new person can continue with that policy, and or you can change the policy, but you find that the context is still the same. So those are some of the options open to you. But I want those terms that we're using. Okay, and in conforming, what are the things we'll be looking at? Because here we are saying the context, okay, of resolving public policy when you have got challenges. It can be local, national, or international context. It can be in local scenarios, or nationally or internationally. Policies are, either they are for, or you find that they don't meet certain criteria. A policy can be a policy, but you find that when you apply it, you've got some challenges here and there. Okay. So normally, what do we do? Whether it's local, national, or international? Okay.
Do we do forecasting?
Yeah, but it's okay. But what are the things that you look at in resolving the problems that are there? You can't resolve a challenge in a policy when you are not aware of what that challenge is, in short. There are some things that you look at from a policy when you implement, okay? And if it does not do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then you can either do this and do that, or do that or do that to that policy.
Morning, Donald and everyone. I think we must check that if it's responsive or effective when it's implemented.
Okay. What are the other guys saying? Thank you, ma'am.
Good morning, everyone. I think we look at the environmental friendliness of that particular policy and its impact or lack thereof in the community.
Yeah.
Or in the organization for which it's intended for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Those are some of the issues that you look at. Okay. But there are many others.
Yes.
So based on that, then you resolve. And what are some of the actions that you can take?
You can review the policy.
Or you can have policy, what? I gave just one example. I said policy succession. But there are other things also. concerning that policy. Okay. Okay. So think along those lines when it comes to this question. Okay. Now the second one, I asked you if you have done HR, you said yes. So they said from that previous module that you did, you talked about diversity management. Okay. Now let us just look at this word diversity. Okay. What is your understanding of this term, diversity, in the management perspective?
I think from a management perspective in organization, you look at the different groupings that you have. Organizationally, you look at the different ethnic groups and how you incorporate them into the organization from a culture perspective in terms of policy formulation, and also be mindful of the dynamics that are at play within the different ethnic groups.
Okay. And apart from ethnicity or, race, what other things when you talk about diversity? The one that you normally talk about when you talk about equity.
Gender.
Affirmative action and gender. Yeah.
Let's say gender, some other things.
Religion.
Okay. We put that religion under one weight that encompasses all those things. Religion, beliefs, what. We say those are there. It says and aspirations. Start with the letter V.
Values.
The values.
Values and aspirations.
Right. Now, obviously, you'll have that diverse community within your department, né? All right. Whether it's in your team but you will have, diverse values, diverse thinking, and all those things. So remember, in management, in a management position, that is very crucial. Diversity management. Right. Diversity management. So you have got the tools that you use, okay, to manage diversity. But we are saying you can also use them in addressing participatory problems. When you implement, some people have challenges because of all those diverse school of thought that they have, as well as the background, the culture, and all those other things. Okay? So it might be difficult for some of them to implement policies to the T because they have reservations about that policy because of their diverse thinking, okay, and background and whatever, culture, religion, whatever, how you call it, but values, aspirations, expectations, and all those things. All right. So how do you then resolve that? Okay. Now, the way that you do it in HR, because as a manager, you are nearly like an HR person. It's just that you don't necessarily do some of the things that the HR is doing. That's why you have got that person who deals strictly with that part. But as a manager, you must understand what your HR manager is doing, and you must have the skills of what the HR manager can do. I mean, if an HR manager can sit down and negotiate with a person over, remuneration, over leaves, and all those things, you do the same also. Sometimes you call a person and say, you know what, I'm aware you've been absent for so many days. Are you aware that, you are depleting your leave days? Are you aware that the cycle is still long? You know, so most of the things that an HR manager is doing, you can do. It is just that you have other responsibilities. Okay, but you can do finance just like the finance manager is doing in your department, that's CFO, or there's a municipality, whatever. Okay, because your accountability rests with you. So as a result, you must have knowledge of all the different things that other guys are doing within your department. If that one's responsible for this, for finance, this one for HR, this one for, you know, okay. Now, but you are an overall overseer of all these other sections. Okay. So you as a manager, okay, you are looking at what you can do when that diversity element comes into play, when people do not implement policies because of all those things we talked about. All right, their values, their what, their what, and you know, the belief system there. All right. Okay, maybe others because they are women, they feel that policy is you know, depriving them of certain opportunities. Okay, or maybe males are saying no, it favors women, you know, and all those other things. So that is diversity. You have to manage that. So how do you then manage that? Because it's a challenge, and it creates a challenge in the implementation of policies. Okay, so the question here is, look at the tools that you normally use in managing diversity. When it props up its head into the implementation of policies, and then people have a challenge or have a problem in participating. Okay, remember we gave examples about, you know, those other topics which were, you know, very prominent in the about 2-3 years before COVID. Remember, like abortion, like you know, yeah, where other people had reservations, other parties were saying no, but you know, according to our values, no, you can't pass such a law. What like this one of rights of children. Other people are saying, but what do you mean? Because the child lives under my roof, and I'm the one who's parenting the child, who's going to show. Now you are telling me how to parent a child. You know, you have your own children in your own house. You know, our circumstances differ. With me, I'm in an area where there's crime, there's what, there's gangsters and everything. If I'm not strict with my child, if I don't just give him a hiding here and there, he'll be influenced by the people outside. Because that is the area which is infested with 1, 2, 3. And children look up to these people as heroes. So I have to apply the ways that things that I feel, this is nonsense. And then now government comes and say, hey, you are wrong. You see, so other people have got reservations. Others are supporting. All right. So that will mean when you come up with policy, other people might participate. Other people might feel, aye. Now, how do you resolve that? Based on the policy, maybe other people viewing it as opposing their cultural, their whatever, religious, their, okay, but some of their values, some of their, you know, and others maybe feeling that, you know, is pro this other gender. And against the other guys, all right? Or against, you know, LGBT community, you know? You know, the gay and lesbian and what community. So obviously, you must have a way of ensuring that that policy is implemented, because you want these guys to participate. Without their participation, you might have a challenge in the policy realizing their its objectives, and then finally the goals of government. All right. So what can you do? All right. I think it's clear, that one, eh? Yeah, guys, you'll be able to answer that one.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Let's
Yes,
look
sir.
at that number 3. The link between policy implementation and program design. Now, remember we said you have got the goals of the government. We started with economic, political, social, environmental issues, okay, that are out there and they affect the people. As a result, people have got certain needs and aspirations, okay? Then you come up, you as government, you come up with what your goals are, what you want to see happen. That is resolving, those challenges which are there. Then you look at what those challenges are, and then you come up with policy based on that, because you want to ensure that the people who elected you get the services you promised them, right? So coming up with this policy, that policy is big, it's general. So for you, those goals of government through this policy, through certain guidelines, then people go to strat plan, okay, the implementers, all right, they go to strat plan. At strat plan, they look at that policy and they plan on how they are going to implement the guidelines of the policy. So they come up with that thing called programs. Okay, so those programs, okay, will be there to try and alleviate the plight of the masses there. But because programs are bigger, then subdivide them into sub-programs, which we call projects. So there's for you to design a program, okay, you need to look at policy. So in a way, when programs are run, they are the methods through which policies are implemented. So you implement a policy through certain programs. When you realize the goals of those programs, you have achieved what the policy had in mind, what it had as its, okay, its main objective or goal. Right? Then you realize the vision of government. All right? So you have resolved those issues which were there. So what is the link there? So explain it nicely so that we can see that you understand that when you implement a policy, okay, you use programs, okay? But now you must design that program in such a way that it will ensure that the policy is implemented. So I think I've said enough. You see the link there, and then you see how the designing of a program is based on how the policy will be implemented, because you can't just implement a policy as is in national, provincial, and local government. Okay, I'm not talking about smaller policies which are sectional. All right, but even if you come up with a sectional policy like a policy on smoking, a policy on what, it's based on one big policy of government that talks about protection of people from harmful gases and whatever in the public, right? Which was passed by Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma when she was Minister of Health. That led to banning of smoking in public places. But the policy does not say ban. Okay, it explains that this should happen, this should happen, this should happen. As a result, when you are going to come up with yours in your section in a department, okay, it is based on that big one. Right. So I'm not referring to that small one. I'm referring to that big one. For it to be implemented, to come with program. I gave an example about, AIDS pandemic. Okay. The government came up with policy on ensuring that we reduce the scourge of AIDS, right, amongst the populations there. And then programs came about. AIDS awareness campaign, okay? AIDS, treatment campaign, all those were programs. All right. So in a way, they were linked to that main policy. All right. So you can explain that and then give you your own examples there. I mean, 10 marks is quite a lot. All right. And remember, guys, that if you are not yet competent on your summative assessment, there's no way we can say you are competent. You have to be competent on the summative, because remember, the formative we do together in class. All right? You've seen when we are reading the rules concerning the POE. On the POE, it's stated that you do the work in class formally, and that is formative, so that you practice with the answering of all those activities, so that you'll be able to answer this summative. I think you have classworks. Only classwork I get more quid. Only classwork, number classwork. And at the end of the month, you've got a monthly test. It is testing on what? You can ask something. You'll ask some of the things which were part of all those classworks and homeworks and whatever. That was formative. Okay? Hence I was saying, monitor, evaluation, monitor, evaluation. Quarterly test. It's an evaluation of how far you are. All right? So as a result, you are looking at seeing as to whether things are going right. I was giving some examples there. Okay. So the fourth one there, it says use an example from your workplace to explain the factors policymakers need to consider when designing policies. Okay. Now these ones are many. Some are those that you will mention there at number 1. Okay. Actually 1, 2. Those things you'll mention there. Some of them you will mention there at number 4. Okay. But this time you'll be looking at your workplace, an example of at your workplace. That when you make policies, when you design policies, when you come up with policies, what factors do you normally look into when you design these policies? Okay. In your workplace, you have several issues. We have several issues there. And we talked about them even yesterday in one of the formative tasks there. Towards the last, I even mentioned some of them, and we even talked about the page. Okay. An example was that one of, I even talked about skilled personnel. I even talked about, Okay. Number 5, illustrate the process you would use to practice, orientate, and structure program evaluation research. Now, this is on activity 34 and 35, 32 and 33, I think. Okay, so get into your workbook, you will find that under evaluation, research, program evaluation, research. Okay, there's a process that you are going to follow there. I think your first module was research, right?
No, project management.
Management.
Right? Yes. So you haven't done research yet.
No.
Yes.
Have you done research?
No, we haven't done it yet.
Or you haven't done it yet? Okay. But in your workbook there, I've seen they've shown you the research that you undergo when looking at evaluating a policy or a program. Okay, so you follow those steps there, the process. Do this, do that, do that. Example is one of them is collection of data. Okay. And what do you do first? What do you do next? How do you find out the results? You look at the weights are there. That you do this, you do that, do that, and after that, remember, at the end, then you can come up with your recommendations. It's there in the study guide. Okay, guys. Are we happy now that we can answer these knowledge questions? It's important because that is like your exam. Eh? You see, they're part of what we call summative. Summative, it summarizes what you have done formatively. Okay, I gave example about classwork, homework, assignment, what, then exam. Or test. Then finally exam. So this is like your test, and then you have your exam, but it's still, yeah, almost part of it because it's also summative. Okay, now you can see it's 50. 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. Right? Any question on that one, guys? Any question on that one? On the knowledge questions? Now, you will see that we will see the rubric at the end because it says please refer to addendum at the end of the portfolio document for the summative assessment and the assessment rubric. We'll see the rubric after we explained those things there. Now, guys, let us come to 7.1. Candidate CCFO. Okay. Do you remember what I said the CCFOs were? Guys, remember what I said were the CCFOs? Critical cross-field outcomes. At the end of a unit standard, when you are through with a unit standard, after you have gathered implicit knowledge, that is what we have in you. Okay. How will we see it explicitly? That is, how will we see it outside? we'll call it a skill, yeah, action, right? Behavior. Okay. It shows us that you have got knowledge from the unit standard content. Now, normally we talk about data. We say data is raw facts, not refined. Okay? They are not refined, they are not verified. It's only what we take as a fact, but we have to ensure whether really did this happen. Right? Now, that data, when you look at it, it's like the numbers that you see and everything. When you start making sense and you have an understanding of how these things can work and what. Okay? First, it becomes information when you assimilate it. Okay? It's data, you just sit there, you take it in you, and then we say you have got information. It means you know about that. But when you start making sense of it and saying, okay, it means this, oh, yeah, it means that can help me here, what, then we say it is knowledge. All right? You are making sense of it. It can't be knowledge if it's wrong, you can't make sense of it. It remains in you as information. But that knowledge and information is implicit, it is in you. When we look at you, we don't know what you know. It's in you. Okay? But when you start showing by action, when you start showing that you can do this, you can jump, you can what, you can drive a car, you can what. Now you are practically showing us. Okay? And we say now it is a what? It's a skill. All right? It is a skill. Okay. Now, that skill shows us what? An outcome. It's an outcome because it is an effect of an output on you as the end user. You are the end user. We can see through you whether you become happy, whether you are able to do 1, 2, 3. You can show us the skill based on what you have learned. Okay? Now, what you are able to do, you can do in different circumstances. Those outcomes can help you in different circumstances. That's why we talk about you'll be able to identify, okay? You'll be able to work with others. You'll be able to organize. You'll be able to collect. You'll be able to communicate. You'll be able to use that outcome as a science. You can be able to demonstrate. And you can also contribute. Guys.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you have got 8 outcomes which are critical and which cross all fields. All right, I gave an example about swimming, but also I can give an example about a car driving, for example. All right, that you see that, oh, this again, this is what, this, or they say this is for moving, this for what, this for what. You haven't tested it. It's just raw facts. You assimilate that, and then we say you've got information about the car parts and things that make a car move. Right? You study the road signs, traffic, what, and all those things. laws and rules, K53 and what. Then you have got what we say, and you make sense of, oh, they mean this. It means, oh, it means you must, okay? It's knowledge. They show you, you get into your mind, and they even show you, see, when you press this, when you do 1, 2, 3. For us to see that you can do that, you can have it in your mind, in your brain. For us to see that you can do that, what do? You get in and do it practically, and then we can say, yeah, he can drive. Okay, now you've got what? A skill, because driving is a skill. Swimming is a skill. Fighting is a skill. You know, why do we say skill? It's something that we can see you doing and showing us how it is done, showing us that you understand how that thing is done. We say that is the skill, a skill of doing that, a skill of doing that. That's why we say leadership skills. We don't say leadership knowledge, because you'll have it within you. But how do you portray that? How do you treat people? How do you compile policies? How do you, manage your department? How do you, negotiate with other people and what? Those things that we see that you can do, it's a skill. We say it's got leadership skills. But if you say it's got leadership potential, otherwise it's potential energy. It's not kinetic. It's still there reserved. Okay? So now, the CCFOs are those outcomes that, when achieved, will help you in different circumstances, even if when you learned them or when you studied and you grasped them or accumulated them, was in a different situation. Like now in class, we talk about this and this and this and this and that. But when you go out there and implement and show that you understand HR by doing 1, 2, 3, by doing that, by taking these decisions, by doing that, by contributing when a policy was drafted, to say, no, guys, here, I think what, huh? By being a member of a team and organizing people to help you with 1, 2, 3, understanding that you can't do everything on your own, you need other people, and all those things. Okay, and realizing that the world is not revolving around you only. Okay, we are just part of a bigger world. What we do affect, or what happens outside even affects us. You start understanding that. You start showing that. Okay, the way in which you are going to treat other people who are not from this country, the way in which you are going to understand other people's cultures and accept them, the way that you are going to, you see, all those things we say they are CCFOs, critical cross-field outcomes, because we see what you can do. And it tells us that, oh, this guy's got knowledge on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you are able to, ability to demonstrate this, ability to do 1, 2, 3. I gave you an example about what an outcome is. Okay. The happiness that cake you have, that your husband becomes happy and he shows by coming home early, because he knows he's going to get his tea and those that cookie that you have baked, right? And then he starts being a family man by even taking you out sometimes to say, my wife, today don't cook, let's do 1, 2, 3. Okay, it's an outcome. It's how he was affected. It is the immediate effect of an output on the end user. The input are all the 5 M's that we use or that we need in order to achieve an output. But you can't just achieve an output when you have them there. You must start doing what? Processing them. Action, do something. What you are going to do, the mixing, the adding, the tasting, the what, all those things, the putting in the oven, the adjustment of the temperature, what, until you have that cake or you have those cookies. Okay? Those cookies are now what? They are an output. That road that you have built, you wanted engineers, you wanted a map, you wanted calculations, you wanted, you know, ingredients there that are there for you to come up with a road. Okay? Trucks and what, sand, what, all those 5 M's, material, money, method, right? Man. And after that, you have got an output. And how you are going to add this before you add that, how the trucks will come, that one with a big wheel and press down, and you add some more, that thing, rocky soil, where you are going to press it down so that the road becomes harder and all those before you put on the tar. Okay, and after that, you even have your markings there. Okay, it was the process. The output will be that road between Pretoria and Johannesburg. It's a road. You see, it's an output. If it's water and whatever we say, it's a service. You've given us as a service. They've got water. But now, after that output, what will be the outcome? The outcome will be easy access. People are able to use their cars safely on the road. People are no more having breakdowns easily from potholes. You see? So you see, it is now enjoyed by who? By somebody else. Okay? You didn't build it for yourself. Even a house, you built and what, but who's going to dwell in that house? It's your family. The family is safe. The family feel what. The family is able to do that. What, you know, we don't talk about you anymore. Okay. You see now it is an outcome. All right. The effect of your output on the end user, on the people who's using that thing that you brought. So you see what an outcome is. So after we have talked about it and what, the outcome will be how you show us that you are able to do this, you are able to contribute, you are able to use that as a science, you are able to realize this, you are, okay, that is an outcome. So now you can do that even in other fields. And you say cross-field. Once a teacher, always a teacher, guys. No? Yeah? Oga feila marulogam classing yat. Hey guys.
We cannot.
I think the problem is that you're mentioning things that other facilitators didn't mention. So
I want you to get 100%, like I used to in my classes. So when I was principal, I was saying, guys, I've given an example. I was a principal and I would have a class. I said, give me grade 12 class. Hey, as a principal, you want to have a lot of work. Hey, give me that class. And I get 100% in life sciences, and you come and tell me you can't give learners 100% in CPD. How? Come on. You know? All right. So you lead by example. So I'm used to that. So guys, let us see now. Here we are saying, remember I said you have got different critical crossfield outcomes. They are grouped. When they say identify, they say you will have an outcome. You will show that you are able to identify and solve problems using critical and creative thinking process to conceptualize, design, implement, and monitor public policies and programs. Okay. When they say here, explain narrative of how you have met this CCFO. Again, now we have done policy. Okay. Now you must explain to us how you met that CCFO of identifying. Right? So obviously you say what? I've realized that I can identify, or now I'm able to identify problems which are there so that I can come up with policies to resolve those problems. You see, I won't say you are lying. I'm not in your mind, in your brain. All right, but you are proving us. You are saying to us, this is what I have, how I've met the CCFO, how I've met that outcome across the field. Because a policy will be across the field. It can be a policy of this or that or that or whatever. But the important thing is identifying. So you are able to identify problems, and you can solve them through what? Through policies and programs. Now, how you explain it is up to you. But at least explain something that shows that you met that out. Remember, guys, SETA is not with you. Again, SETA is not with you. And I'm also not with you in your workplace. But we've done this the whole week together. So I take it, at least you will be able, okay, through with the outcome that I believe you achieved. Because an outcome is what now you are able to do with what you have learned. So ability to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm able to identify this and that, and I'm able now to what. This is what you are saying to the SETA. So that the SETA can see as to whether Regenesis have done their job correctly. Okay? This guy knows about policies. Luke is able now to do this. He's able to do that. He's able to do that. All right? Now, with working effectively, you see, effectively, okay, with others as a member of a team, group, organization, or community to conceptualize, design, implement, and monitor public policies and programs. In your workplace, you can say now, in my workplace, okay, I'm able to organize, work with my colleagues, form teams, and work together in order to come up with policies, okay, and implement them. We can design and implement policies. You can give example and say, example, smoking policy. You see, it shows that you'll be able to do what? To work with other people, because we talked about stakeholders. Then you saw, when we talked about designing of a policy, that one element or one aspect that is important there is stakeholder management. Those people who will be directly or indirectly affected by the policy that you are going to draft. So you can't draft a policy alone. It will be your policy. It might not be. That's why in Parliament, all the parties have a right to raise their voice to say, no, but here we disagree with this part, with this clause, and all those things. That's why it goes through all those stages. It even goes to the portfolio committee. It even via the legal panel that looks at whether it is not against any stipulation of the main law of the country, that is the constitution, right? So you work with others, all right, in coming up with policies, designing them, as well as implementation. You need other people. So you see, now you have got that ability to do that. That is working with others, all right? Organizing. You are able to manage yourself as well as other people. Remember, we talked about you not being an entity all upon yourself or all by your own. Okay, no man is an island entirely upon relying on himself. All right? You need other people. We are social beings. Okay. So you must be able to understand other people's opinions. Okay. So you manage yourself, and you are also able to manage other people. Okay. So that your activities, you manage them responsibly, so that the activities then can be implemented easily. So that is organizing. Organizing can be in many forms, but because of the lessons that we had throughout the week, you are able to organize. Obviously, you communicate, you'll call meetings, you'll what, and you organize. Okay? But now, collecting, remember we talked about data, where we say you collect data and you analyze it so that you are able to see whether you met or did not meet the expectations of communities whom the policy is intended for or to, right? Now, if you are able to do that, you tell us here, okay? I'm able to collect, analyze, organize, critically evaluate information, conceptualize it, design, implement, and monitor public policies and programs. And you can give example to say, in an organization, I was able to do this. I was able to collect data and analyze it, and then I advise that we come with such a policy. And today the policy is there. You see, it shows us that you have achieved that outcome. All right, communicating. It's understandable that one, you're able to communicate effectively. You can use whatever. You can use visual, you can use, whatever, sign language and all those other things. But the thing is, you're able to communicate with others, okay? So that you can implement and you can get the buy-in from these guys. So they help you in implementing policies and programs, okay? You can use science and technology. I mean, you use computers, you use whatever. You are able, to use technology effectively, okay? So that you can even use it as a tool to evaluate. Where you've got data, obviously, you analyze it, you can use certain apps, all right, and certain software, okay, to analyze that, okay, that you got, so that you can see whether the public policy is, doing its job. Is it really meeting the needs or not? Okay, but you can even talk about other technology, for example. Okay, photocopiers and what that you're going to use, when you communicate, but also, WhatsApp and all those other things. It's technology. Okay, a science, you are able to use certain tools, and then you can use science to evaluate. Because some you use certain software, you put the data in there, then software will do all those calculations and everything and give you the results. You'll see when you do research, okay? Analysis of that, all right? Demonstrating, okay? You can demonstrate that the world is a set of interrelated systems, all right? By recognizing that problem-solving context linked to the public service policy design and implementation do not exist in isolation. That a variety of factors, sensitivity, stakeholders, and policies may impact on overall efficacy thereof. Okay, so you realize that you can demonstrate an understanding that those policies that you come up with, you can say, I demonstrated, I was able to explain even to my management that some of these policies were against international law because it discriminated on people from other countries. And then we even had to look back at those policies and all those things because, it might affect our exports and imports from Kenya or from whatever because of this policy. You see, you are demonstrating your understanding that whatever that you come up with here in South Africa, even if it's for South Africans, not all people who are in here are South Africans. Others, are visitors. Others are tourists. Others are what. You see, others are asylum seekers. Others are just here, but they'll be going back. Okay, so when you arrest a bus full of people, some people are not even South Africans. They are here to visit, they're going back. Then we arrest and put them in our cells together with not even one. And others are marked, others are, all those things that happen in a cell. By the time the International Relations Office come and say, no, these guys, man, no. They were visiting, they are there on a mission to what. You say, ish. I mean, these guys can sue our government, and their government will be angry on how you treat their. Okay, so you could demonstrate that some of the policies might not be, okay, in accordance with international law. Okay, contributing, of course, you contribute to participate as a member of a team, be culturally and aesthetically sensitive. Of course, you can even explain that. Okay. Remember,
Yes,
this other one,
Okay.
I like this. Why? Because remember, we have got two unit standards. You remember that we have two unit standards. Did I remind you? Skatara akante wa ile tsepeni. Di a tshwana mos. Di a tshwana ke di unit standard tsepeni. Ba bona 242920 le 242907. Apply critical system thinking and practice to public sector policy issues is the title of the first unit standard. The second one, conceptualize, design, implement, and monitor public policies and programs. So not like the chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 1. Again, we subdivided them so that we should do justice to that. But actually, it is two IDs here. Okay, that's why you see, even with the specific outcomes, we have specific outcomes for the first one. Okay, this, and then we'll have the other one there. You see this one, and then you have, you see, US 242907, this one, and then it has got also its own purpose of the unit standard learning assumed to be in place there in the specific outcome number 1, number 2, number 3. All of them have got their own assessment criteria. You see, assessment criteria. That's what we are looking at when we are marking you, when we use that, that marking grid. This one, assessment report, detailed. You see, we take that SO of this one, 242920, apply critical systems thinking and practice. Again, this one. Again, SO number 1, demonstrate critical and analytical skills in conceptual and participatory policy. This assessment criteria, how we assess you. Critical process utilized in policy concepts are identified. You are able to identify the concepts that the policy is this, public policy means that, and all those things. Okay? And then analytical process are applied to conceptualize models in probabilistic models again. So right or C, competent. Because after you have passed your formative and your summative, you are competent. I'll say you are competent on this one. You are competent on this one. The range of sectors, context locally, national, international is described in the context of resolving public policy. Well, I want to get question A. This one. Is that question A? Yeah, knowledge question. Do you see it? Lights off. Hey. Yeah, South Africa. Just came back at 6. after 2. Ahambe ngo-2, abuye manje ngo-6, manje ahamba ngo-10. Okay. So do you see, I will say competent. I don't know, you've passed your knowledge question number 1.
Yes.
So it means you are competent on this one. Yeah. Okay. Competent. Okay. So to be competent. I was just showing you that why do we have those CCFOs which are repeating. The other one is for the other unit standard ID, and the other one is for that other unit standard ID.
Okay.
Now, after you are through with those, okay. After you are through with the CCFOs, where are they? Up there. The CCFOs. And guys, Oscar, waitsapa hukwala ne. Ungasabukbhala. Right there. And even give an example and whatever. You know, it looks so nice that you took your time. You know, you said, no, yeah, I was able to do 1, 2, 3, what. It shows demonstrating. This, it shows contributing. You know, in most instances, people get their POEs back to say, please fill in the CCFOs as agreed in class. Hey, you have got so much work, guys. Now you must go back to that thing of regenesis. You know, people drop out for just a simple thing that they could have done once. Nice. Amen. You see, that's why I say, when you do something, do it good the first time, or do it right the first time. We say that is what? Efficiency. Ne? Do the right thing right first time. They're efficient. I don't know about well later. How is that well later? We are aging, guys. Sometimes you get bored. You say, and you give up unnecessarily. All right. After you are through with that, you come to that 7.2. Remember, it was 7.1, the CCF approach. Okay. Candidate review of assessment. Your review of assessment, that's why I was saying other students prefer that they don't answer this, and after they get their results, is then that they can get this, and then they send it to the Genesis, right? Because look at what it says here. The assessment related to the registered unit standard. Okay, the assessment. Yes. The assessment was practical. Yes, the assessment was time efficient and cost effective and did not interfere with my normal responsibilities. You tick here. The assessment instruments and judgments were fair, clear, and understandable. So other people will say, but what if I'm not satisfied? Then I've already ticked right here. You see? My special needs, if any, were identified, the assessment plan was adjusted if required. The feedback that I received was constructive even when I requested assistance. How do you know? After you filled in this and you've got challenges, you phone me, I say, I don't have time, or I don't even answer your phone and I don't come back to you, or your emails, because I prefer email rather than phone. A phone, like a person might phone now, I'm busy with you. I can't just leave you because someone is phoning. Unless, yesterday, when that other student I could see, she was having challenges, so she was trying to reach me to say, hey, I'm having challenges, I can't join you, what, because some family met. And she couldn't put it on the WhatsApp group or the chat here. Everyone will see it. So it was private. Okay? But it's our student who's supposed to be in class. But you can imagine if you phone and I'm with another class, we're doing, you know, financial management. You want to ask me about policy or about HR. I must start thinking back and stopping other learners to say, okay, just a minute. And then, oh, which page? And you say, you remember that one on page 7? Yo. When am I going to go to page 7 of HR module workbook, you know? But if it's on an email, after we are through, after afternoon or after school, I sit down, look at the emails, and then I can answer you, and that's nice. But sometimes, like for example, during exam time, last time one student said, hey, on the email that, hey, I can't get in and I must write now at 12 and what, and I don't remember at what time, hey, what. Then at least I was fast. I was able to phone and say, hey, guys, hey, so-and-so, hey, help this student, what, you know? And he was helped. And, you know, after the exam, he even said, hey, thank you. I was even able to write. And I think I passed, you know, enjoy your Christmas. All right. So I could help because it was an email. You see, and luckily that time, remember, during the festive, we were only marking. So the email, I can look at what the email is all about whilst I'm still assessing or marking the scripts, exam scripts. It was easy. Okay, but what I'm saying is, guys, you might not be happy, and you've already filled in this and you signed that you are satisfied with how we assessed you. So it depends on you. Other people just fill it in so that they trust that we are going to do justice to them. All right. So that will depend on you, whether you fill it in or not. Or you want, after everything, if you don't have complaints, that it can be sent to you to fill in and to send it back. Candidate self-reflection. This one, it's you know, you are looking at yourself, you know, using the review of assessment completed above and thinking back to your assessment process. Identify your own assessment strengths and weaknesses with regard to the process of conducting outcomes-based assessment. Also think about future improvements that will enhance your own assessment practice. Okay? What are your strengths? Okay, just explain to us. I'm good at this and that because I'm able to what, you know, because in my line of duty, this is what I do. So I'm, right? Weaknesses, I sometimes, you know, have challenges in emotional intelligence. I become very emotional, more especially when people accuse others, more especially in the workplace, of stupid ideas and what things which are not there, which are gossip and what. It's your weakness. You get angry and, you know, all right. Future improvement, all right. I need to be more emotionally intelligent. I need to at least, you know, give everyone the benefit of the doubt until I've proven, you know, them otherwise. All right. It's nice. It's, you know, what you think you need to improve as far as you are yourself. And guys, if you're not satisfied, you have the right to appeal. If the assessment was not fair, you have a right to appeal. Remember when I read you your rights there in the beginning of the POE, the rights of the student, the rights of the what, eh? And your responsibilities, I even mentioned them there. I was reading to you on Monday. Okay, appeal. And appeal is a formal written complaint. Formal written complaint. Okay, not just a phone call, you know, and hearing a lot of accusations and insults on the phone, showing how angry you are and how fast and how good you can talk a good English. I mean, we might forget. So, but if you have that in written form, email, CC, Dali or Salim Kete, say, guys, what about 1, 2, 3? Yeah, Mr. Brock, what? He was always referring to us, you know, as what, and yeah, I wasn't happy about that, what. So this led to me when I was writing this assignment because my heart was still aching. So that's why I think I did not do well. I put the blame on poor blocky. And yeah, the assessor must inform the candidate up front that he or she has a right to appeal against the outcome of an assessment. That is what I'm doing now. I'm informing you that you have a right to appeal. The purpose of the appeal procedures is to provide a candidate with a systematic approach of contesting assessment decisions and resolving the potential dispute. All right. When a candidate disagrees with the assessment outcome, he or she must explain the reasons for this to the assessor concerned as soon as possible. I'm going to look at who was the assessor, because in your POE, it will show who the assessor was. And then you contact that assessor. I mean, I am not happy here. Why did you say I'm not yet competent? More especially on this and this and that, because this is how we did it in class, and I was with Mr. Block, and he said we couldn't write it in this way. And now you say I'm not yet competent. I'm not satisfied. Okay. And then if there is a disagreement on the outcome of the assessment process, the candidate will initiate a formal appeal process by submitting an appeal form. When a candidate appeal, the Skills Development Act and the South African Collective Authority Act cover the following two scenarios where appeals can be lodged: an appeal against an assessment, an appeal against an accreditation decision. Okay, against who you can bring it against? What? Unfair dismissal assessment, invalid assessment, unreliable assessment, the assessor's judgments, if not considered biased, if considered biased. La iso le kopisana, mara wena go magile wrong, mara tshuma go magile right. Why Matilda mo magile right? Why have you marked Matilda right and you marked mine wrong? Because we wrote together and we wrote the same thing. And I did copy it. Okay, but you say I'm wrong and she's right. You know, when people argue, you even get the truth. Oh, you were copying. Eh? But the gist of the matter is, I mean, things are the same. Why should we don't concentrate on you copying? We'll come later on that one. We must first say, Mr. Block, these things, we take them, we look at them, say, yeah, these are the same. You know, when I mark, guys, or when I assess, like when I'm marking exams, because I said so many exams for so many subjects or modules. So I can remember that I've said this question. And I think I remember that the memorandum was like this. I look at the memorandum. I even remember some of the things that I did not insert, but which are correct. If I'm able to do that, how can I not see that I've marked this? I mean, you are about 52. Sometimes I mark, because even if students are 2,000 in a module, they will give 80 or 100 to this one, 80, 100 to this one, 100 to this one. Okay? They can't give me all 2,000 alone, unless they have to give me two weeks to assess that, to mark. All right? So they subdivide. Now, if I've marked you and you were in this group, and they gave me all the scripts of this group, when you're supposed to be 52 again, I mark the second one. When I come, even if I can come after 2 days to number 50, I'll remember that I've seen these words somewhere. I look at all these POEs, look at number one, that question. I say, yeah, man, wait by wait, comma, exclamation mark, full stop, the same. Mistake, the same mistake. You see? So I normally remember where I've seen some words which are written by students, that I've seen these words from another POE or from another script or from another question paper of a student, if it's an exam, then I can see there's something wrong here. I can detect that I am unluck. Either these people, because remember you are writing online. So sometimes these guys, even if they watch, you keep on pressing it and all those things too, so that you can see that you are not copying. But other people are experts, you know. She sits here. I mean, you only see me here. And if another one is sitting here, how will we see her? She's here. And remember, their mics are off. And other people, when they write, they keep on talking. So we are not sure whether she's talking to herself or to a friend to say, I think it's a what. You know? You know, so I don't want to be another. And they can put the book somewhere and copy and what. So I'll detect that. All right. So, but you can appeal against unreliable assessments, invalid assessments where you were right and marked you wrong, unfair assessments when you feel you were not fairly marked. You know, somewhere gave you 3 instead of full 10 marks. It's unfair. Okay. The assessor's judgment, if considered biased. Okay. If I say not yet competent, when you feel you should be competent. Why, if you got 70%, should I say you are not yet competent? Unfair. Inadequate experience and expertise of the assessor, if it is influenced, it influences the assessment. If, like, for example, the time when we're busy with police, we say, what's that chance, man? Doesn't know anything about police. Yeah? I mean, when I mark, how do I mark you nice if I don't know anything about police? I'll give you wrong, even when you are right. Then you can say, no, we even saw it in his. Okay. We feel this guy no. You know. You can even look into our assessment review forms. Okay. Where we even stated it there that this guy, Skela Musa, don't bring him back. All right. Unethical practices. Guys, unethical practices. If I phone you or I write you an email to say, hey man, I an email to Jambis. If I phone you to say, hey man, I see here you are not yet competent. Can you give me 500 rand so that I push you to be competent? It's unethical. Ne? I need a bribe so that you can pass. You see, because students are students. Some they feel they really need this course. Maybe it's the last module. Last module they'll do anything. You know, and that is unethical. I've seen with some people who lost their jobs because the lady will be writing a thesis or a mini dissertation for master's degree, and the lady will be so desperate that you know, sometimes we have one-on-one. You must visit the Genesis campus so that we sit and talk and you know. And I say, no, here you are wrong. You see, if you did it that way. So she's been failing for several years, you know, that research, and she feels it's too much, and you know, so she opted for giving the guy some money. I think it was 5,000 rand or whatever, you know, and they met at the News Cafe over dinner or lunch or whatever. Okay. Unfortunately, someone saw them, but not thinking, you know, came there, you know what. Okay, fine. Then suddenly that one sees that one passing and says, I'm Mukete. And complained to Genesis. And Genesis said, no, man, there's something wrong. Genesis went to the research a dissertation, and they looked at it and said, man, why did you say this person has passed? They don't say there's someone who complained. Okay. When last did you meet? When, what? You know, because we record every time we meet that we met and discussed, and, you know, because I'm supervising. So finally, they brought that one and said, no, I saw them at a certain place, what. They went there, Genesis just kept quiet, went there, looked at the video footage and of that date and what, and they saw them, even the lady taking out the envelope and what. You understand? So it's unethical. It's unethical. All right. Now you can complain about that. You say, yeah, Brady or Mr. Block or Don. Yo, Donald, yo, Tato. Okay. We met in town and then he was saying a lot of things and nonsense and what. I got so angry. I said, you know what? I'll report you, but I did not. Now I can see that, or that's why he failed me. See? So you have a right to appeal against all those. To whom does a candidate appeal? Now you appeal to the assessment. The candidate can appeal an assessment outcome either to the practitioner or assessor or to the appeals team at the Genesis. If you are still not satisfied, you can take it further to the ETQA, the Quality Assurance Board. Okay? An appeal team will be established as a permanent academic structure to deal with the appeals dispute. The appeal team is a subcommittee of the highest degree committee, including an external moderator. So you can appeal to them. Trust that they will. All right. The diagram overleaf presents the process, roles, and what you can do and how. It is this one, appeals process. Learner submits an appeal form. Assessor reevaluates evidence within 14 days. Amendment of assessment record, learner satisfied, process ends. If you talk to me and say, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't, I was tired maybe, because I was marking very late in the evening, and I don't know why I said 6 instead of 16. Right, and here I don't know why I said 5 instead of 15 marks. See, so I see these are the ones that led to a failure. Sorry about that. And thank you for picking that up, okay? And I improve on it and we pass. Just make a report to Genesis, to my academic manager. All right. External evaluator reevaluates evidence 14 days. Now, if then it moves from here to the assessor, goes to external evaluator, and then you must resolve it within 14 days. If you are satisfied, the process will end. If you are still not satisfied, appeals team, it will go to the team now, no more to the external that thing there. So if you are satisfied, the team make a decision, the process ends. If not, the appeals team is fine now. But remember, it will now be where? At the highest level. Okay, yeah. It will be at the highest level. That's why we say you can even take it up to the ETQA. Okay, here's the form that you can fill in. Okay, what was the purpose of the assessment? Explain how you were assessed. Mention the assessor agree with the assessment decision. What do you think could resolve the matter? Mention any special need that you may have. Okay, and then attach original your own organizational dispute policy if you have one. Alternatively, you can use the one above. Okay. Recognition of prior learning. Now, guys, if you have done policy and you feel that you've been doing policy, you've been drafting policies in your workplace so many times and so many years, different types, and you feel it's not necessary for you to attend this, you wanted Genesis to give you credits for this module for policy development and management. Okay, so we call it recognition of prior learning, RPL. Now, Genesis has adopted the following definition of RPL. RPL is a system of assessing and recognizing candidates' knowledge and skills independently of ways they have been acquired, either through a formal or informal learning process. If you have been doing this for years, why should you come to school for it? Okay? But now, you have to appeal. not appeal, what do you say? You have to apply. And then Genesis will look into your reasons and all those things. Let's see what they are saying here. The aim is to provide an outcome-based assessment process for registered unit standards or qualifications for candidates without formal education, experience, and uncompleted qualifications. Increase candidates' access to wider education and career development path opportunities. Assess knowledge obtained in terms of awarding of credits. Assess applied competency. Encourage a lifelong learning process for candidates. Okay. Promote needs identification and encourage candidates to take greater personal responsibility for learning, and promote portability of skills and knowledge. The key benefits: changes focus of learning process from assessing input to output, that is outcomes based. Cost effectiveness, it reduces cost of education by avoiding duplication of education activities. Okay, also for skills and knowledge that the candidates already possess. If you already know something, why should we teach it to you once more? I mean, you know it. It helps in reducing time and money and everything. Promotes human development and lifelong learning, advances self-confidence of candidates, and encourages them to take responsibility for their own learning and completion of qualifications. Socioeconomic development benefits for the country because of increased participation in education and training activities. So those are advantages. Here's the RPL assessment process. Learner inquire on RPL. Ne? This Genesis communication to learner on RPL requirements and application process. You inquire, we explain it to you how it works. And then learner's application for RPL and submission of preliminary evidence. You bring supporting evidence. Preliminary assessment RPL application preliminary decision. We look at it, communicate the outcome of decision to a learner if a professional and development mental manner. Okay, in a professional development. If outcome is negative, Genesis will communicate to you nicely. Okay, if yes, familiarize the learner with assessment process, clarify expectations. Step 1, submission of a full portfolio of evidence of work experience. And we can even give you a test and we can interview you on things concerning policy and see how you answer them. Okay. If yes, then provide learner support in form of counseling and career education development advice. Inform a learner on appeal process. If learner lodges appeal, formal appeal process is followed. If I still feel our guys, I need to have this. Okay. We assess you, we moderate, and then we give you results. Positive outcome, the results is communicate outcome to the learner, provide past assessment support in the form of counseling of career development advice. If no, results are communicated to the higher degree committee. Okay, there's an RPL application form. Okay. All right. Remember, guys, you continue writing your initials each and every page. Okay, quality assurance checklist. Guys, you fill in your name, ID. Ne? Why this form? We want to, SETA wants to know, have I explained all these to you? Did the facilitator assessor explain the following concepts to you? SAQA structure, NQF, how your assessment is linked to NQF, the record database that I said your name will be on, career options after this assessment. Did the facilitator assessor cover the following detailed assessment process? Unit standard against which will be assessed, use of unit standard, assessment against assessment criteria, sequence of activities, assessment, methods of this assessment, feedback process, remedial action required if I was deemed not yet competent, informed you of the following barriers that could affect fairness of assessment, special assignment requirement, appeals procedure, opportunities for reassessment and extra costs. Did the facilitator give you this copy of the unit standards to be assessed against, examples of assessment instruments in the use, explain the types of evidence to be gathered, opportunity to contribute to the process? Okay. The time frame for submission of evidence. All right. Please indicate your special needs during this assessment. So, guys, we're going to tick here. Tick, 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 tick. Right? That I and tell you it's I. Now good to see. All right. Fine. Now, the last thing here. Application for assessment. Guys, please, please, please fill this in. Please. A lot of students just leave it. Why? I don't know. 9.2. You know, in outcomes-based education, if you haven't applied to say, I'm ready to be assessed, we are not supposed to assess you. You must agree that you are ready for assessment. You are ready to be assessed. Agree that, yeah, you can assess me. That is the principle of assessment for in outcomes-based education. A learner needs to say, I am ready. If not, you can say, but I wasn't ready. Then, why did you assess when you were not ready? Candidate name, candidate ID, assessment attempt. You are going to say here whether you are attempting for the first time or the second time. Assessment attempt, first, facilitator, maybe there, Donald Block, again, because I'm the one who was doing that again. And then, assessor, again, first. Observer, if available, there was no observer. Get out, no observer. Interpreter, there's no interpreter now because when you fill the forms, you agree that you all understand and know English. You need standard number and name. There's no need. You can leave them there. You can just write the policy. Okay, policy management, right? I, so and so, DB, don't block. Name and surname. Hereby declare that I'm prepared to and ready to be assessed. Just this thing, guys. Just this thing. So small, and you leave it, you don't fill it in, and you get it back. Before it goes to the sitter, we say, hey, sitter is going to fight us. Please fill in this form. Waste of energy. Declaration of authenticity. Guys, please. What you are saying here, you are saying that the work you have used is the work that was given to you by Regenesis, but also outside that, these are the other resources I've used. Other people can write there. Municipal Systems Act, Municipal Finance Management Act, Public Finance Management Act, HR, what, DPSA white paper for transformation in the public service, they write those things that they've used. Okay, I so and so, and my ID number being this, hereby declare that the content of this portfolio is my own work, with the exception of the following list of resources used. Okay? Then you can write other things that we have used in compiling this POE. You can even write names of policies here. What policy on this? What, policy and regulations of what? Right? The thing, if it's an act that you've used, what act? We are not strict about how you reference here. We just want to see what we have used. apart from what we gave you. It's unlike in your assignment where you have to reference in a certain way, you know, like the Harvard method of referencing. Here, just write those other things that we've used. Okay. State of the Nation Address, President Ramaphosa, 1999 or whatever. Copyright Declaration. Here you are saying the material that you got from Regenesis, you are not going to use it to make your own profit and somewhere on the sideline. I, so ID number that hereby declare that I am aware of the copyright that exists for all course materials as trained and distributed by Regenesis Management. I undertake to use this material for my own developmental purposes only, and not to use any of this material for training, education, and information distribution purposes without the written permission of Regenesis Management. And sign. Okay. Anything, guys, up to so far? Anything, guys? Anything, guys?
I want to declare it on page 15 on the POE again.
Page 15.
Yes.
Kwa.
Yeah,
Eka yona 15.
yes, 15.
Grade 15. Don't be shit to let's go. Otherwise, that's the one. 15. A.
Yes.
Etomane.
At,
Why is it, you know here
at the bottom.
the bottom.
Yes. Where they are talking about declaration. Yes, on this one.
By signing the assessment report, I, the candidate, declare that I'm satisfied that the feedback given to me by the assessment provider was constructive. I accept the assessment decision. I have no further question. You know what happens here?
Okay.
After we are through with your assessment and everything, when we have done all the modules and everything, the CETA will give us names of the POEs they want. A list of names, a list of names of students' POEs to say POE for this one, that one, that one, that one. And based on that, we take those POEs, we send them to you to sign where you must sign to show that you are satisfied and what. We can't every time after you have submitted, I've marked, and it must be sent to you. You understand? It's a lot of work.
Yes.
Some get lost, others forget to return them, you know. But when we are sure that your names, because sometimes they want 25%. Again,
Yeah.
so it's not a lot of, it might be one box. And we take those POEs, but remember, it's not one box, because they'll want to a module 1 up to module whatever. If they say Solomon Nkabinde, they want module 1 of Nkabinde, module 2 of Nkabinde, module 3 of Nkabinde. We take all the POEs of Nkabinde, all the POEs of Donald Block, all the POEs of Lebohang Kamuki, all the POEs of Temba, that thing, Maben.
Yes.
Right. So we phone you to say September, your thing is going for moderation, external moderation, CETA is coming. Where are you? We need you to sign, fill, what. You even get an email. And then they can even send a driver to bring them to you. And they say, okay, we'll come and collect them tomorrow. Okay, some people are kind enough, if they work in Joburg, they say, no, all right, I'll come to Regenesis. You simply just come there to sign, and you go home. You see, but that's when they let you sign and do all those other things. Others sign in advance, like now. You find that when you send your POE, others have already signed here. I mean, they are reducing all that stress of what. You remember I said, even with that other one of reviewing of assessment, others sign it in advance.
So it's safe to sign anyway, just to avoid any eventuality.
Yeah, because look, CETA might come somewhere in December, it might come somewhere in August, depending after you are through with all your modules. That's when we call the external evaluator or external moderator or the verifier, which is CETA. And
Okay.
CETA, you make an appointment, you phone them, they give you another date after 3 months. That's why sometimes people have their POEs for long. It's not because they were not marked, but it's because you are waiting for CETA. You know, it was worse during COVID. People had their files for 3 years at Regenesis. And then we went to CETA and said, hey, now it's communication time. Come. And they had to start, you know, and there were a lot of people who are still waiting for that. Because it's not only Regenesis, there are a lot of institutions, all of them via CETA must, you know. So those guys will tell you they've got other, you know, service providers that they're going to. And they'll give you a date somewhere in November. So before that, we ensure that you come and sign, or we come to you, and sometimes, guys, you are on leave and you are somewhere in the Western Cape or the Karoo, visiting relatives or whatever in the Eastern Cape or somewhere in KZN. You know, you can't come back to come and sign. You see? So it's from you, Menir, whether you just sign it anyway. And we will not say when you are not satisfied. We will not say no, but you have signed here. You tell us, no, I signed because I was avoiding you to tell me to come and sign and what. I mean, if you appeal, you appeal. We don't care about whether you have signed. I mean, we know you signed before. Why are we saying you must sign each and every page? Okay. So I don't know if I've answered you, Menir, that you can decide, you can choose not to sign that. There's no problem. But if it happens that we need your signature, we'll contact you. They will email you, they will phone you to say, can you come and sign, or should we send someone, or where do you work? At your workplace. So that you just sign, and then back.
Answered. I'm answered.
Okay, thank you. The other guys, I was thinking before we go to the other summative, yeah? The last one, that we take a break and think about it, and when we come back, we'll look at this other one, this one. Practical assignment. This. Okay, task number 1, 2, 3, 4, and what they want and all those things. Then after that, we look at the rubric. Explain about the rubric, how we mark you, how we allocate marks. Yeah. Can we look at the completion of this POE? Looking at practical assessment. Now, This, as you can see, guys, it is on a separate document, which is part of the POE, but you can see it starts there with everything that is on the outside cover of the POE. Now, why is it like this? Is because when SETA looks at your POE, they don't deal much with formative assessments. They look at them. Most of the time, if they are about 5 of them, they share the POEs. Okay? So when they share the POEs, you see this one, it's on its own. They detach it. And then they give to that one, this other one, just like that. So it must have everything, you see. Candidate's name, surname, ID number, telephone, email, and you leave this for me. And okay, then you come to practical assessment. So you might ask yourself, oh, this thing is the same as that one, so why should I fill it in? Because in the beginning, or at the beginning, we also filled that one in. Okay, so you fill it in so that when these guys, external verifiers, when they moderate, then you are safe. Let us look at what it's saying there. Practical assessment. The reason for policy success or failure are complex, as they depend on the nature and context of the organization and policy. Right. That's number one. Choose any policy of interest in your organization and conduct a retrospective policy analysis as guided by your study guide. In the study guide, we said you can analyze a policy pro, during, and after. So retrospective, okay, a policy can be analyzed after that policy has been implemented and after it has worked and we have evaluated. You can analyze it now after that to see that it conforms to whatever and whatever. So you have got that in your workbook, retrospective policy analysis, and you look into that and you put in that policy, attach that policy so that we can see how you analyze it retrospectively, how you analyze it, okay, implemented. All right. So we are looking at seeing your policy. Guys, avoid a very big document. You know, people put in the whole book. Some policies are national, guys. They're very huge, you know. And yeah. So please, in your organization, take that smaller Yana policy. Okay. Not these big ones which have got, you know, yeah. Take a small Yana policy, a policy that is very small, it's not that big. Okay. Or a version of that policy if it's big. We've got versions which are shortened, which are elaborate, and you know, there's got some few things, and then they've got the main things. Okay. But you see that there, and let us see the type of that policy, so that when you analyze it, you can see what you are talking about. That's number two. Using any model, you know, you have done all those models. Okay, the Corning, you've done DAN, you've done. Using any model discussed, we've used the problem-solving model. Okay, using any model discussed in this module and critically discuss areas of weakness in your organization policy development practices and provide clear and practical recommendations for improvement. So you take a model. Now, you had this question somewhere in one of the formative assessments there. Somewhere, I think, is, yeah, task number, I think it was activity 5 or 6, somewhere there where they talk about models, where they say compare your departmental policy with any model and what. So you see, they go hand in hand, this one. Okay, but now here they say, discuss areas of weakness in your organization policy development practice. Okay, when they develop the policy, okay, you are looking at the action, what they did, who they involved, and all those other things, what they looked at, okay, and recommend that according to the Koning or according to problem-solving cycle or according to Dan, this step here, was not done properly. So recommendations. Next time, let's do it that way. Let's do this. Let's do that. Okay, number 3. Now, it can be the policy above, okay, or it can be any policy, because here you don't need to attach, because we're talking about development practices. When it was developed, you can't put the practices here. We can't see who was doing what. We rely on you to say this was done. It was not according to this model. All right. But the first one, task 1, attach your policy. Okay. Task number 3, using systems theory principles. Remember? Critically analyze the policy implementation challenges in your organization and provide recommendations for improvement. Now, here we're talking about implementation. You see, here on task number 2 was on policy development process. Yeah. Okay, development. Here is the policy implementation. Okay. Here you are saying, what are the recommendations based on how you came about that policy compared to what the model is saying? Choose a model, okay, and then explain that the model of so and so says this and this and this and this and that. Have the energy to write. Show us that model, talk about it a bit, and say, but with us, this is what we're doing. We differed here and there, okay, when we were designing this policy. So these are my recommendations for improvement, okay? So task number 2 is going to be quite long, okay?
Hello, ma'am.
And
Hello, ma'am.
Are you talking, ma'am? Okay. And then number 3. Let me try to mute them. Okay. Number 3, number 4. Okay. This implementation challenges. Okay, when you were implementing it, you had certain challenges. Okay. Talk about those challenges, because you can't say next time we should do 1, 2, 3 without telling us what those challenges were. Okay. Because systems theory principles say this, that. A system should have this and that and that. This is how systems work. And then when we're implementing, okay, there are some issues which are said there in the theory, systems theory. Some of the principles did not work or were not used during implementation. That's why you had challenges. So as a result, you are saying, based on us not doing this and that and that and that, I recommend that this should be done for easy implementation or for successful implementation of our policy. Okay, just mention the name of the policy, and then system theory principles are saying this and this and this and that. And when we implemented, we experienced these challenges, and these are my recommendations for improvement. All right, so it's threefold there. What is that system theory? Can you even explain? And then say, for example, what, and should have this and what and what. So in our implementation, we had the following challenges, this and that. All of these are because we did not follow the principles of system theory. So recommendations, underline. Then hash this and that, this and that. We should do this, we should do that, we should do that. Number 4, or we can say 1, this and that. 2, this and these are recommendations. Normally, you put them in bullet form or numerical. Task number 4, choose any policy in your organization. Okay. I don't know whether you use the one that you used here or anyone. Okay. But that one also, put it in so that we can see that policy. Okay. Choose any policy in your organization. Identify key monitoring and evaluation indicators. You can imagine if you don't have that policy there, how will you tell us about the indicators? Because we need to look at the indicators and look at the policy and see as to whether there's that alignment of those indicators showing you that the policy can be evaluated correctly. Okay? And explain how you would conduct effective monitoring and evaluation of programs over a period of 3 to 5 years. Okay? Again, we said a policy leads to programs so that it can be implemented. So a policy that will come up with programs, okay? You are going to monitor and evaluate those programs, okay? You monitor, remember we talked about you monitor for what, for effectiveness, for what, all those other things, okay? You evaluate for efficiency, blah, 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 and all those other things, okay, of those programs. And you can see whether the programs were aligned properly with the policies, okay? But the important thing is that you put the policy, okay, and you say, these are the indicators. The indicators, okay, are those aspects or elements that are going to say to you, the policy is being effective, or it's been what, or it's been what, or it's been what. Okay? Hence they say, effective monitoring and evaluation of programs. So the programs, you say for this year, this is what we found out when we were monitoring. And in evaluation, we saw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is what we came up with. And then over the next year, this is what happened. Over the next year, for the first 2 years, this happened, what. After implementation, this policy showed this and that. Then the 3rd year, and then in the 4th year, okay? Hence they say over a period of 3 to 5 years. Remember, you introduce a policy and you come up with programs. When you implement it, in the monitoring, you monitor. When you evaluate, the recommendations can be after 2 to 3 years. Because remember, a program is over a long time. Okay? The ones which are short-term deliverables are projects. So programs are from policies. And remember, I said a program is bigger. That's why we subdivide it into sub-programs, or we call them projects. So that program, based on that policy, in the 3rd year, because the program is longer, it's larger. For the first 3 years, this is how it fared. In our monitoring, we saw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But in the evaluation, we realized this and this and that. It did not what, maybe it did not meet what. And and all those things. Okay? And then maybe you went back and reevaluated, reviewed it, and then in the 4th and 5th year, this is what we found out. Now you'll see how you coin it out. But at least you have an idea of getting a policy, okay, and looking at the indicators. Because when you monitor, you must have indicators. When you monitor, okay. When you monitor, you must have indicators. When you evaluate, you must have those things that say to you, this worked according to how we planned it. Okay? Okay, guys. Now, let us look at what the rubric is saying. You know the rubric? Rubric is guidelines on awarding of marks on work that you have submitted. Okay. So in layman's language, in schools they call it a memorandum. But at our level, we say it's a rubric because it's not a one-way answer. Okay, it is application. So with application, we talk about a rubric. That Elena was able to say this, he showed this and that, he showed that he can do 1, 2, 3, he collected what, and what. And then the degree of merit will be according to the amount that satisfies the assessor. Okay? Now, it guides you, a rubric guides you on what is important. What are those things that will add you? You see, tasks 1, 2, 3, 4. So on that one, remember I said, take a policy, okay, and do that retrospective policy analysis. Okay. So it says here, okay, 4 marks. Now, how do we come to these 65 marks? When you look at the marks which should be allocated here the maximum is 5. Here the maximum is 10. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. You see? You see that this block here, you get total here 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. Is 60. And this is 5. This one is 5. Maximum. So that's why it is 65. So if we get 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, and this 5, okay, so identify relevant policy linked to organization, okay? If you have evidence of that, proof of that, yes, you have got you, that is 5 marks. Give you a 5. A problem-solving tool technique was implemented to analyze policy. You see, they're even guiding you the problem-solving tool or technique. So it means here, where they say, conduct a retrospective policy analysis as guided by your study guide. Okay? So when you analyze it, you can use which model? Problem-solving model. Okay? Information gathered and analyzed for analysis process, I'll give you a 10. Because you have to tell us, you have to give us information about that policy when you are doing that retrospective analysis there. Policy analysis address the values and aspirations of organization. Now you see it's guiding you. Huh? When you analyze, you looked at the values and aspirations of the organization. Okay? Problem identified within context. Okay? What is the problem that you have identified there? Alternative course of action recommended. Remember, we say there that you must read policy analysis as guided by your study guide. Ne? When you do policy analysis, obviously, you come up with some things that you found out. Okay? And you say, probably you should have done it like this and that and that and that. These are recommendations. Get 10. Possible outcomes of different courses of action. I think, remember, we say you've got alternative action that you can take. You've got alternative policy that you can come up with, still addressing the same problem. Either you can come up with this one or that one, that one. Okay? Because remember, somewhere we say identify possible solutions. And then we say choose the best solution. You see? So if you take this one, it might be like that. If you take that one, it might be like that. But we can take this one. So possible outcomes of different course of action identified. What possible outcome can the other one or the other one bring? Right. If you take this one, the outcome might be that. Okay, people will be able to do 1, 2, 3, or okay. That is how it works. But number 2, appropriate model for policy analysis identified. For you to identify a model, say choose a model and recommendations for improvement. So number 2 will say to you the model, okay, how you identified weaknesses, which were the weaknesses, and the recommendations. This is Mahala date, this one. Then implementation there, systems theory, discussed as a method. And I remember I said, explain first to us that systems theory. Okay. And then the practices, okay, that you saw with implementation there. Okay. And remember we said you discovered some challenges in implementation there. Systems theory critically applied to the analysis of policy implementation. So, but according to systems theory, we're supposed to have done 1, 2, 3. Get 10 marks. Challenges to implementation of policy are discussed. So the challenges are this that we realized during implementation, 10 marks. And then the recommendations, 10 marks. Monitoring and evaluation there. Policy monitoring and evaluation indicators identified and discussed. Remember, I said indicators are those things that say to you whether things are going right or not. Okay? Those indicators, or whether it met the required or achieved the required or intended gain or improvement or resolving of a challenge. Then 10 marks. Process of monitoring and evaluating policy explained with context. Okay, how you monitored and evaluated. Then program monitoring and evaluation measurements I discussed within context. Okay, that is how you analyze. Because when you analyze, you measure, you look at the percentage or number of people who achieved, number of people who were not happy, who did not want to participate, who did what, So it's evaluation measurements there. All right. Then knowledge questions, 50 marks. And this one, 75, you can see there. 80 plus 30, 110 plus 65, 175. Okay, then I give you your total here. And then those knowledge questions, I add them here. And then we get the total out of 225. Okay. And then you are competent or not yet competent, because we look at what you got here out of 225. All right. And overall result, competent. And I sign. Okay. That's why I'm saying you will sign when we are through with the assessment and everything. And other people sign in advance, even if you don't know whether you'll agree with me or not. Okay. This submission checklist, when you submit your POE, start from the beginning and check as to whether you have everything that we talked about, that you must sign, you must submit this, you must submit your CV or what, everything. Complete the what the formatives and summatives and provide evidence. So when you submit, you check, because sometimes, guys, your POE is in tatters, it's not yet arranged. Some things are there, some things you want to see the numbers nicely and start arranging it so that you can bind it. So you can bind it. So before you bind it, arrange it nicely. Look at rules and regulations for compilation of portfolio of evidence. Must be there. Remember, guys, you don't remove anything from a POE. Nothing at all. The POE will be as is. The only thing is you would have finished it with the answers, okay, or completed whatever that is needed. Don't change the numbering. Don't change the pages and put that number 7 at number 33. Let them be numerical as they are, those pages. Whatever information that is extra that you have, just put it after that activity. Okay, and when you are going to bind, it will be one thing. Okay, so when you are binding, before binding, check that you have all the rules and regulations of how it is compiled, everything, names, what, ink, what, you know, all those things that we said, the unit standards, what, you don't remove anything. Pre-assessment agreement checklist and assessment plan. Remember that one I said, fill it in. Candidates' rights and responsibilities. Okay, rights and responsibilities. That page is still there. Application for assessment is still there. Formative assessment is there. Okay, those are all the activities, 33 of them. Knowledge assignment is there. Practical assignment is there. Candidate assessment review and evaluation of assessment is there. Assessor feedback assessment review is there. All right. So you tick. This one is there. This one. Other people, they tick without looking. The next moment I see that what is not there. The application for assessment is not there. It's not even signed. So ensure that you relax. Take a day. Okay. Just be absent at a funeral for once. You've been attending all funerals and birthday parties, and you can be absent for once, or a society meeting. Write an apology. Just for once and concentrate on this thing. You'll see them next month. Okay? Or you'll go to church next week. Church is almost the whole year, every Sunday. And God is aware that, you pray Him always. So He's aware of that. And He's aware that you've got other things that you are busy with. And sometimes it's the Sunday that you get enough time to can do some of these things. Saturday, you go there, you come back, and what? Sometimes some things are work-related. And when you come back, you are tired. You can't start looking at the POE. So sometimes just take just one Sunday and, tell the priest, hey, I'll see you. Can give someone to take your collection on your behalf if you feel your money will be missed on that Sunday. Okay? I also had to, sometimes I can't even go to church when I'm busy with some other things. Like, for example, when I'm traveling. Can you imagine I'm traveling to Venda and or Toyando, and Sunday I can't wake up at 6. And if I start by going to church and take about 4 hours in church, because after that maybe it's a meeting, cancel meeting, whatever, I'm there, I must be there, you know. And from there, someone is sick, we are taking, we're visiting the family for a prayer or whatever, or there's a death case. When I come back, it's almost 12 o'clock. And I must still arrange and what and get into my, you know, and get my things right that I'm taking with me. Otherwise, I'll forget clothes or whatever, shoe or whatever. Or you even forget your cell phone. You remember it when you're on the next third toll gate. Can I come back to Pretoria to collect the cell phone? Do you understand? What time am I going to land in Venda? Toyando. You see? So sometimes on other Saturdays, I tell them, they know, no, Mr. Block, work related, sometimes it travels so much. I even tell them, if it's a social club, I tell them that the next social club, or, you know, this week on Sunday, you know, a social club meeting, I'll be absent because of work related issues. They are aware. Okay, so that I drive nicely during the day. I reach Venda or Toyando, you know, at a certain time. Sometimes I'm flying to Cape Town, you know, to facilitate that side. I must still drive to Klein William, land at Cape Town Airport, get a car from Avis, travel and another 4 hours, 4.5 hours to Klein William. It's very far. It's not that because you are in the Cape Town State Airport, then you're already there. You still have to drive. Like a person going to Musina. I mean, you're still driving. So as a result, I can't go to church. I can't go to a social club meeting. I can't attend a funeral. I can't attend, you know. I concentrate on being there at the airport early, get an earliest flight, around about 10. So at the, you know, to Cape Town is 2 hours. 12 o'clock I'm there because I still have to drive another 3.5 hours to Klein William or to Van Rensdorp. When I reach that place, what time is it? About 4, 5 in the afternoon. So I've been on the road to the whole part of the whole day. I must still land there, get the hotel where I'm booked and relax and prepare for tomorrow. Because the Sunday, Monday, learners will be in class. I must go there. You see? So sometimes, guys, you know, things need to be done. You know, even when you've got work from work, that you take home. Okay? Guys are saying, what do you call them? These guys who are psychologists or what. They say, no, do the work at work. Don't take work home so that you are busy with your family, what. Some work, guys, demands you are at a certain position where you just have to work at home. You know, from work, you've got some other things which are needed, which are too much. You can't do them at work, unless then you have to work until 12 in the evening at work. And you drive during the night home. It still is not safe. And even at home, they'll say, maybe you violate your pennies and what. They can't trust that. You have to work until 1. But when you're at home, it is come back home, you know, be with the family for just an hour or whatever, get your supper, how was school, what, things like that. They know 8 o'clock, that starts with his work. All right, I'm just saying, guys, because sometimes guys will say, hey, no, why it's getting busy? We don't have time. Why it's getting busy? Life is like that. If you stop being busy, then we bury you. You are no more needed. You know, what you don't use, you lose. What you don't use, you lose. Okay. If you don't use your legs, because we are not using them. They start to be useless. Don't use your eyes, right through. You know, so you use your body, use your mind. It is always refreshed and things like that. Right. Guys, is there anything you'd like us to go back to? Look at it. Look at, you know, what challenges you might have. It is that time now to okay. So guys, what are you saying? Any comments on the module? Which modules are left? Anything you want to tell me? This with this, well, left with this module. Hey, that one, hey, what? You know, hey, anything, guys. Maybe I can give you advice. That one, you'll be doing 1, 2, 3. It's not a problem. You might not, you might not be with me next time, eh? You might be somebody else. Anything on policy, anything on Genesis, challenges, IT, assignments, or POEs you have sent? For the time frame you're given for POEs, compilation, or the time we have for this module, do you want it to be 3 weeks? I think 5 days is enough, right? Other modules is 2 days, 1 day, 2 days. You are lucky, it's 5 days, this one. With others, when we do Abu Finance, 2 days. Others 3 days, but depending. But about HR, sometimes 2 days or 2.5 days. Some even do in the evening, some classes. Because people are busy during the day, so they can only attend classes in that thing. Okay, over to you, Dr. Mukwin.
Thank you. A very good day to you, Mr. Block. A lot of our policies in the organization, they are more human resource and stuff like that. I see our main act as Department of Health, Emergency Medical Services, key National Health Act 6103, EMS regulation, which provides for how EMS should be EMS service should be provided to the community. And then we do our operational plan, because the law asks us that we must have indicators and how we must manage it, admin and all that. Then we do an operational plan where we then put indicators for us to measure our performance. So I think one of the biggest policies I can use in the study is the National Health Act as a public policy, but I can also take a few acts, a few policies that I can answer a few questions with, but the major one that actually delivers the service to the community is the National Health Act. I'm not sure if I'm on the right track.
It's too big. It's too big. Okay. Doesn't it have you've got a shorter version of the PFM?
What I can do, I can link it to the smaller policies that support the Act.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe one policy will be on this, because that Act is huge. It's on everything.
Yes.
Okay, but you have
Yeah.
got some policies which are linked to it, but those ones deal with this. Okay, emergency what. This
Yeah.
one deals with, you know, treatment of what. You see, so you can get that smaller now.
Yeah, you see, one other thing that has happened is they've got standard operating procedures, which I see
Yeah.
a lot of them deal with the implementation of the various policies and acts. But standard operating procedures, I'm skeptical to use them as policies because they don't have certain dimensions and elements which a policy must have. So they fall short there because they're more of a, before you do this, do that, and
Guidelines, regulations.
yes, yeah.
They regulate how the guidelines of the policy should be implemented.
Yes, like
There are only certain parts.
yeah.
Understand. Yeah, we've got those is like the EEA, you know, Employment Educator Employment Act. You see, we call it the Bible. It's big. It's got everything about educators, about principals, about posts, about whatever, you know. And then it's got all those things about misconduct. But you can take that part on misconduct because you've got misconduct that lead to expulsion, you know, yeah, or discharge from work. You see, so that one deals with misconduct. Okay, and then you can put that big part, that one of you know, why is there and all those things, preamble and what. But inside you put only that part. Okay.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
We
Thank you
are
very
aware.
much.
Yeah, we are aware that it is part of that bigger policy. You only took certain, okay, that you are going to discuss when you talk about implementation, about challenges. You've taken that snippet of the police. Yeah, because sometimes people put in a very big policy, national one, and everything about it, and you find that it's so huge. So, I most of the time work with people from national government, you know, president's office, you know, and yeah, and all those big offices out there. So when you say policy, yo, what I'm doing, like lights are back. Oh, it took only 2 hours then. Only 2 hours. Oh, 4 hours is during the evening. During the day is 2 hours. Yeah. Anything else, guys? The other guys, anything? Let's help each other.
I think from my side is to thank you for the delivery of the module itself and the explanations and the guide around navigating through the POE. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. The other guys, are you satisfied with everything? Should I be looking forward to being all competent?
Yes.
Yes.
Without me going through and saying, "Hey, Mario, and that is in the Maraka wanna Dibra." Again, so I was looking at Mara. It's not a shampoo that I book. Again, so guys, thank you so much for attending. More especially, I've seen, you know, a lot of these faces which were always there every day. I know we had challenges, you know, here and there, of course, which are national, it's out of our other thing control. But at least, you know, you showed concern, you were early, timekeeping was out of this world, it was fine, you know. Sometimes I have teams when you are busy with them, they will just disappear and come after an hour or 2 hours and draw you back. And on number 1, number 3, man, the movement number 12, you know, and things like that. And also for the respect that I saw you giving to each other. You know, in some other groups, you find that sometimes people, you can see they batlontolan and bangelana ngama style, so bakwelana ikembe what. And I can see, hey, Mr. So please, ma'am, okay, let's concentrate on this. Then the next moment you're out of the topic, you know. People are saying, yeah, but Mr. Block, no, with us. It's just that with other departments, I don't know what, how. Ma'am, that's their department. That's what they do. No party is wrong. It's wrong. No, you know. So I never had all those things. You know, I enjoyed it so much. It's rare that I get such a team, you know, because in most instances, guys, I don't know whether maybe people are from different political parties. They try to show what. When they talk about something, they go low and out of the topic. Even talk about the president, even talk about Nkandla, and then talk about Palafala. I said, guys, let's come back to the topic. Okay, it might be an example, but what is your take on if a policy says that, you know? And people go out, yeah, but no, say, no, look like you are favoring. One asked me, which political party are you supporting? I said, no, but this out of context. You know, does it matter? We are here, and what we do in class, it ends here. We can criticize each other much as we like, but concerning the you know, the topics that we are discussing. But let's not be personal. Let's not be, you know, adults, guys. We are busy with our grandchildren, you know. It's not necessary. Okay, speak the truth quietly and give others a chance to talk. Even if let's give them the platform, let them talk so that they are also confident. You know, otherwise, you find other people afraid to say their views because they'll be slammed. Then you find people laughing when a person is presenting. You see, and I'll be saying, come on, guys, give her a chance. But I say, yeah, you, with funny remarks and yeah. So I'm happy that I found, you know, a very enlightened and well-determined and, you know, emotionally intelligent team of you guys. Hopefully, I'll meet you in one of them. How many modules are left? Which ones are you still going to do? Research?
How many?
Communication. Communication, finance.
Finance, yes.
Also finance.
Yes.
Communication.
I think it's about 6 in total.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you only did about 3.
3, yeah.
No, one or the other, I'll be with you. I know with other groups, I've been with them for about 4 to 5 modules.
Really? Please come back.
Yeah, you must come back.
Yeah, but provided that I'm available, you know, because we've got, because sometimes we have got guys who really say we want so and so. Hey, Genesis will try to say it's busy with what is okay. Postpone it to next week. Yo. And I must drive now. And then give it to Lena. Why didn't you? And they laugh and what I come on. It's two faces in number. I like you. You know, bye. Okay. So thank you guys for on that score. And I'll be with you until you graduate, and I'll be there during the graduation ceremony. And we can laugh about it. Eh?
Yes.
How time really flies. Okay, but we won't say our goodbyes because true love never dies. Okay, you'll always be beautiful in my eyes. Thank you, guys.
All right.
Greet your families. Say hi to them. I love them. They gave you a chance to be with me.
Thank you so much.
If they refuse, ma'am, no kasevete. We go. Okay, thank you, guys. Enjoy everything. I'll await your assignments. Okay, your POEs.
Thank you very much, and same to you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Butali will send you the slides and the recordings once they are the recordings are edited. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye-bye.